beautiful people of the world. Welcome back to Familia Pablanu. I am the one and only Anne.
And I'm Pablo, just Pablo.
And in this How We Met series, so far I think you guys have seen the proposal. You've seen how we got together and everything.
How we met, courting. Well, now we're going to talk about everything leading up to
the wedding. You might want to get your popcorn ready for this. It's going to be good. So without further ado, let's begin.
Mama Africa, your children are home.
So I know we've talked a little bit about this in the interlude, but basically one of the reasons why I personally am wanting to record this is first to show my family what it's like, and to let them know that this is what we had to go through. It's not normal. It's not healthy. It's not safe, in a lot of ways, and to give them hope, about being able to get out and actually being able to see things from an outside perspective, which is difficult to get in that environment, and hopefully get some freedom out of this as well. And be able to actually open their eyes, and see what's going on. And the other reason is for Anu's side of the family to help them to understand, where I was, what I was in, the factors, that directed us in our actions, especially in my actions, to help them understand a little bit better, what was going on, to hopefully get some closure, and also for me to be able to apologize, for the things that that I was responsible for. Now that I can look back and actually see, what things actually were, and I can see how hard it must have been for them to go through this experience, over the past 5-6 years.
So this is the part where we got engaged and we're so happy about it. And now it was around December. It was for Christmas time, and Pablo said, why not we go and meet my parents, go to his parents' house in another state for Christmas. And I was like, oh yeah, sure.
So right after the proposal, or pretty soon afterwards, we ended up driving to my parents' house for Christmas, because again, my younger sister was living with me, and so it was, a way for her to get, to see the parents, to see the family and everything again as well. So we're like, yeah, let's make a trip of it. So all three of us went, Anu and myself and my sister, and so we went down to the state where they were living,
and then we haven't told our parents yet. We haven't told my parents or his parents. So he said, okay, maybe we can tell them both together, both my parents and his parents. Now, this is where the drama begins.
We let my parents know that we were engaged, and one of my sisters was like, oh, I already knew because I saw her ring on some video call at some point.
And we told on Christmas Day. Actually, it was Christmas Day, and we're like, okay, guys, we have an announcement after we finish eating Christmas food and all that fun stuff. So we have an announcement. The announcement is we're engaged, and everyone was so excited.
But yeah, they were all really excited. They were like, yay, congratulating us and everything, all very positive, And then and immediately afterwards, I wanted to tell Anu's parents, and because I had this thing about, you have to honor, and I was like, I don't want to show them any dishonor, right? I don't want to tell my parents, and then not tell, her parents the same day. So I was like, I want to tell them the same day. I want to, show them that respect and that honor. Anu was like, no, let's wait, maybe next month. Maybe next year, we can tell them.
So they were very excited for us, and Pablo's father was like, "Oh, yeah, celebration! That's great and all that." And then we said, "Okay, let's do a Skype right now, and let's tell my family, let's tell my parents." And fortunately for us, my my parents are at my sister's, or my sister are at my parents' house, and they're enjoying Christmas there together. So yeah, and my sister and brother-in-law, they were there too. So we called them up on Skype.
So there we were, talking to them, greeting them, everything, saying, Happy Christmas, all that. And then, so we had just greeted, right? We had just greeted them, and my dad happened to be walking by, and I was like, oh, Dad, you can greet. I think my mom was in another room, and I was like, oh, you can greet them as well. So he sits down, and I thought it was just to greet, right? Oh, hey, hello, how are you? And, walk away. That's usually what people do in that situation, I think. But he sat down, and the first thing he said, he didn't even greet them. The first thing he said, hey, so you excited about the good news? Right? And of course, Anu's parents are like, what good news? What are you talking about? And who is this guy? And why is he acting all goofy and smiley and stuff? Like, who is he? He hasn't even introduced himself. Who is this guy?
And all of a sudden, the father jumped in. He came in from nowhere, jumped in and said, oh, you told him about the engagement, right? You told him you're getting married? And all of our faces dropped, like, darn, we haven't told them yet.
And I was just like, Dad, what? And he's like, yeah. About their, because they're like, what good news? And he's like, yeah, about their engagement. And I was like, Dad, shut up. Like, what? Like, who does that, I mean,
we're engaged. I put my ring finger up, and I remember, I think they were all looking at each other like, oh, wow. That's very soon. That's too soon. I remember my mother and my father looking at each other like, wow, that's too soon.
I mean, now I look back and I'm like, okay, he may have had some ulterior motive to do that. He may have done it just as like sort of a challenge, to say, are they for them or against them? That sort of thing. It's something that he would have done. And which makes sense why he didn't even greet. He just went straight into that, because he's like, let me, or maybe even throw a wrench into things so that it would lead to separation. I don't know.
And my sister, I think my brother was like, oh my gosh, congratulations, wow. And my sister said something like, she was very concerned. She was really concerned. Again, I've told her everything so far, so she has a reason to be concerned. She's like, so you got engaged. You have money for traditional ceremony, you have money for wedding, why are you getting engaged so soon? She said something to that extent, and I was like, why aren't you excited for me? Everyone over here is excited. Oh, Pablo's side of the family excited. Why aren't you excited? Huh? Again, she's seen a lot of red flags that I've talked to her about, so she was just concerned for me because of what I've told her.
After that, they were pretty cool with us. And basically, the only thing I remember out of the rest of the conversation was, because I think they were in shock, was Anu's father basically saying...
Right, and my father then said to Pablo, okay, all right.
Okay, so you come to our house here in Louisiana, you come and you stay for a few days. You come and we meet and we talk about this. We discuss this. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, this is the last holiday I'll have in a while. So, and at that time I was like a new employee, so I had no clue about like asking time off or anything like that. It just wasn't in my head. And I also had a bit of anxiety about being summoned, And so I was like, okay, I don't know, I guess. And then they also spoke to my dad and was like, yeah, so, please come visit, bring your family, whatever, come visit, us in Louisiana here, blah, blah, blah. And my dad was like, oh, sure, okay, yeah, that sounds like fun.
And then I told Pablo, okay, yeah, you have to go see them. The tradition requires you to go see my parent and tell them your intention. Okay, you want to engage, you want to get married. And he already thought, because they came in on Thanksgiving, we saw them, they met him, and he got a green light and is good to go, basically. But I'm like, no, you still have to go see them. You have to bring your parents with you, go see them, say, okay, I'm interested in marrying your daughter, and then you do some kind of small ceremony. Just in Yoruba culture, it's called mamimoe, like meeting the in-laws. Yeah, they meet your parents, the parents, two parents meet each other. So it's kind of like that. But once my parents got off the Skype call and my sister got off the Skype call, they sort of say, my sister later on said, congratulations, okay, bye. That was that.
And then, but then after the call, my dad started talking to me about, wait a minute, is he trying to like evaluate me, you know, and whatnot, and maybe even evaluate you? Like, that's not a good situation. And he probably brought in something about authority, and evaluating someone is, you know, who you don't have authority for is like rebellion, and rebellion is as witchcraft. Therefore, you know, getting pulled into such a thing could lead to demonic activity and all his problems and whatnot. So anyway, so he was instilling this sort of fear in me already. And again, he may not have even mentioned me. He may have just mentioned himself, but he had enough influence on me at the time that even if he was like, hey, I'm not going to be doing that because that just him saying that could have been enough to influence me. But I think he did talk about me as well and say, you know, it can affect you as well, you know, you going there. So I kind of had that in my head, and I was like, oh man, yeah, I mean if he's going to be evaluating me and seeing whether I'm good enough, yeah, that's not good, right? You know.
Okay, if it's not just to congratulate me or to congratulate you, Pablo, I don't think it's good. It'll be safe for us to go there because there's going to be a lot of spiritual spirit demons and stuff involved in that. So this is what he was saying. Basically influence his son that it's not a good idea to actually even consider going to Louisiana. So anyway, we continued the Christmas, and it was time for us to go back. But all the while, I kept telling Pablo, I'm like,
I think Anu tried to say, hey, it's just culture, it's just a different culture, you know, like that's just what, you know, my dad expects. He expects you to come and discuss things with him. Because I was like, wait, why didn't they even ask, you know, the wedding date? Because that's what Americans would do. They ask, you know, oh, when's the date? You know, that's the first question they usually ask. And so in this case, you know, they didn't. And I was like, does that mean they're not for us? Does that mean they're against us? Like, what does that mean? I thought we already had the go-ahead from back in, you know, was it Thanksgiving, et cetera, et cetera. But Anu was just like, no, it's just different culture. It's just, you know, what do you expect and stuff, you know, to do that. And I was like,
so you must do the traditional way, how it's done. I kept telling him, but whatever his father told him was in his head, and he almost basically said it word for word, like, no. See, if I go there, I don't even know if they're gonna be ganging up on me and just asking me, interrogating me, seeing if I'm fit for you and all that. If that's the case, it's not gonna be safe for me to go to such a place. I'm like, who's gonna be interrogating? Who's gonna be ganging up on you? My father and my brother, and maybe my brother-in-law, which you don't even know. And you were not going to be going there alone. We will both be going there. I'm not gonna just send you there. Go there by yourself. Doesn't make sense. I'll be going there alone, so you know I'm there right next to you, you know, so you don't have nothing to be afraid of. Why are you afraid to go see this man and tell him, okay, I'm interested in your daughter? I mean, you've met him before, but why would you be afraid? But because he got influenced by his father, he refused.
I was like, well, I mean, I don't have any free time, because I was really afraid, you know, because my dad had put that on me. So I'm just like, I don't know when the next time I'll have time to go down, except maybe spring break or something, you know, because I was teaching at the university, and I was like, I don't know when I can go. So, I mean, and I don't have time and money just go down to Louisiana like that. It's not easy, you know. And so I was kind of waffling on it. She was just like, I mean, you know, that's what he expects. And I was like, yeah, and about my parents and everything, them going and everything, I don't know if they can make it and stuff. And basically my dad ended up going from, oh yeah, sure, that'd be fun, to, I don't think we can do that, you know. And he can do that very, very fast, you know, for his own purposes. But anyway, so for me too, you know, I went to like, I don't know if I can go. So that's kind of where it was at. And
so I think a month went by, and I said, you know, they're asking of you to come. They will call me on the phone. Okay, when is it coming? I would tell them, you know, you have to go and do the traditional way. And he said, I don't even, I mean, he's demanding me to come in the middle of the semester. There's a lot of spirits involved in that. I don't think it'll be safe for me to go. And it won't be safe for you to go either. And I'm like, excuse me. And remember, they've already said, don't listen to the woman, whatever the woman said. So they already have that. No matter what I try to say, he wouldn't listen, he wouldn't hear it. Whatever his father has already told him is what is going on about. And I think that, yeah, he can't really tell his father no, that he would do it the traditional way. I think he knows what is coming. He knew, sort of, like the father would hate that, because that's, again, if you went back to, is it the 7th episode of how we met, and I told you about, keep in mind this will come in later on, the fact that the brother was excommunicated from their family about 20 years ago. It's been 20 years or so, and none of the siblings had contact with him. The father influenced them and said, if we contact you, no, he's got a lot of demonic spirits attached to him. Don't respond, just ignore, block him, don't talk to him. Wherever he try to communicate to you on a media social platform, block him, just block him, and just don't read any messages from him. If he goes against his father, that he will be the next one. It will be the next one to go to be excommunicated. So he knows that in the back of his mind. So everything he does is influenced by that, knowing that you want to be on your father's good side, or else you will lose your family, which he didn't even have in the first place. So all of that was happening. I was trying to talk to him. Okay, he didn't even hear one word I was saying.
And then from then on, I kind of expected, talk more about this in the next video, but kind of expected if there were any issues, that Anu's dad could talk to me. If he had questions, if he wanted to know like the date, if he wanted to know like what we were thinking, he could talk to me. And again, that was kind of the cold thing about it has to go through the man, right? You have to go through the man. The man's the one that you go to, right? He's the authority figure or whatever, which is problematic in itself.
Yeah. So the reason why I was going along with everything is that I've wanted to, even though I think marriage is not work, I was hoping that maybe I'll meet a guy one day and we will leave both our parents, both our families behind, and we will do our own thing. Again, that's why I said yes to that engagement, to that proposal. I said, okay, we will do our own thing. We will build this thing from the ground up without any influence, because I've seen he had a lot of influence from his family, and I had a lot of influence from my family too. Then I said, it's enough. I want to be my own person. Maybe once I get married, he get married, maybe we can both individually be our own people without all of that strong overbearing influence from our parents.
I think for Anu it was like, yeah, red flags. But for me, I was just upset because in my mind, it doesn't matter what, things I was not connecting, what things I didn't understand about, my prior relationships, because I didn't understand a lot because I was in the cult, and there were a lot of things that I did because of that. That now I look back and I'm horrified by, absolutely horrified by. But at the time I just saw it as, oh, well, no, like those prior relationships, yeah, they were a mess, they were not good, they weren't meant to be, that sort of thing. And I knew, and I had basically given up, on marriage altogether, given up on finding a partner, wife altogether. And I was, but then Anu showed up, and it was like a breath of fresh air, when she showed up, and it was just it was so different in my mind, and yet, in the cults, they still, in my mind, they were still stuck in these patterns of thinking about, for example, what was it? This idea that one of these past relationships were meant to be, and that the woman rejected it, and therefore God brought in a replacement, another one, right? And I kind of went along with it for a while, but then after that relationship also failed very quickly, I was like, no, this whole thing is not for me. But then once I met Anu, it was very different. It was like, oh my gosh, this actually might be true. There actually might be a true love type thing, like someone who's your soulmate, type thing. And yeah, everything just clicked with her. And so there was even this other sort of assistant pastor, or whatever you want to call him, who was basically a lackey of my dad. And he said something like, oh yeah, so God has replaced some prior girl or whatever with Anu. And I was just so mad at him as well. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, never say that again. I was like, no, that's not true. Never say that again. That's absolute BS. And it just made me sick, to hear that. I know from the outside, Anu felt like that. She felt like she was a replacement, unfortunately. But for me at that time, after the proposal, and we were in engagement and everything, that's when all this was coming up, and people were saying stuff like this, and I was just like, it just made me so sick, because I felt very differently about Anu.
Because when you raise your children to a certain age, you believe you've raised them well, and you just leave them and let them grow, let them fly, and you've already given them the wings. Now it's time for you to let them fly. But it just seemed as if I was being held, and I couldn't fly, and everything that I do was influenced, and influenced, same with him, influenced by our parents. If we don't do it this certain way, we are going to be judged, we're going to be looked down upon. So we want to be on their good grace, so we do it the way they want it to be done. But in the meantime, we are like, when am I going to get to be me? When will my turn come? I'm getting to this certain age. I'm 25 now, 24, 25, 23, you know, that age. I think they've taught me enough, and they need to believe in me to be able to fly. But the issue that they're not believing in me, they don't think I'm able to do it. So they influence and influence and influence and influence. Same with him too. So I was hoping maybe I will get married one day. I will spread my wings and I will fly. We'll both do this thing from the ground up. But what did I get instead? Big old lie. It was the biggest lie in the entire world. Yeah, so this is how it went when we told both of our parents. So far, there's already clash between my parents and his parents, because his parents, even his father, refused in what do you call it, religious arrogance is what Pablo will call it. It's arrogance upon arrogance and arrogance, and refused to want to follow. It's like, oh, this is traditional stuff, it's worldly stuff, you don't want to follow all that traditional stuff anyways. You just want to do your own thing, do your own. I mean, we'll get more into that later on.
Thank you for watching this episode to the end and bearing with us.
Yes. Now, if you think you've seen drama, you should wait till you see the next episode. It gets crazier and crazier. So don't forget that popcorn next episode, but we'll see you in the next video. Until next time, bye.
Ciao.
Adios.